Yo, what's up y'all? Welcome back to another Roblox studio video where today I'm going to be continuing working on our round system. So if y'all ain't seen part 1, I strongly recommend for you to do so. But anyways, the first version of this round system was made for a free-for-all game mode, and today we're going to be converting this into a team-based game mode. But without further ado, let's get right into it, y'all. So back in our main script, the first thing we're going to need to do is go ahead and make our teams. So what we can do is, instead of local game players, we can put local team 1 and local team 2 is a table. We do the same for team 1. And so what we can do with this is two things. I'm going to show you how to make a team where one team will have one chosen player chosen at random, and also where it'll just be two evenly distributed teams. So to just put one player, what we can do is local player folder is just players get children. So instead of this, we can have our player folder. And actually what we can do out of this player folder is local chosen player is player folder. We put the bracket math.random 1 through the number of player folder. So for every player that's in the game, it will choose a random one of them from 1 through the however many there are. And it will choose it as our chosen player. Now what we need to do, table.remove player folder, and then our number. We actually need to get our number here, so local number is this. You can control X on this and put number. Place this in here. And what we can actually do, we can move this. We can move when we get our team tables. Move this down here, and instead of just a random table, in our team 1 table we can put chosen player. In our team 2 we actually do not need, because what we can do is our player folder, we can rename this team 2, and for every player folder we can press replace player folder. You can just put this as team 2, and now it will function the same as the player folder would have, because we're still removing the chosen player from it. And since we already have our team 2, just remove the table.insert. I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna name this single player team. And since we want to have it where each of our teams has different spawns, we can take our maps back out. We can take them out here. And what we're going to need to do with these maps is change the spawns around. So for this we can have spawns team 1. And we can also make a spawns team 2. So let's say we cut this in half. We put these ones in a new folder. We can call this spawns team 2. And remove this middle part. And I'm just going to copy these over to each map. So now that we have our team spawns, we can set it the same way as our normal spawns. We can have it where there's one spawn per team, so they can spawn in the middle of their base, or we can have it where they spawn anywhere. They can spawn all around their side of the map. So now that we have our team spawns, we can go back into our main script and we can actually make a local function. Put local function spawn team folder team. So now all we need to do is copy this over, place this into our new function, and then what we can do at the very top is for A, B, and pairs, folder, do, and at the very end, the second end right here, we want to drop down and put an end. And now instead of just getting the spawns folder, we want to do ... team. So now down here, when we have our moving players to spawn, what we need to do is spawn team. And our folder will be team 1. In our team, we can put in quotations team 1 with a capital T, just like we named it in our map. So it will say spawns team 1 when we look for the spawns. Then we also need to spawn team 2 and do the same thing in quotations team 2. So now what this is going to do, it's going to spawn them in the same way it did before, but now they're going to each have their own individual team spawns. It'll also move our player to the team. So now what this will do is it will move our players to the spawns the same way, but they'll all get put in their individual team spawns. And it will also choose one player out of the entire player folder and put them on their own team. So now what we need to do to finalize our team system, we need to come down here and fix all of this up. So we can do the same thing up here under our for I loop. We can put local function clear team. And in this function, we're basically just going to take the same thing we did for our game players, but what we're going to do is the same for A, B, and pairs, team do, and then put an end at the very end. So instead of game players, it's going to remove them from the team table. Same thing with this line. So instead of this down here where we clear out our game player table, we're just going to do clear team, team 1, and then clear team, team 2. And now what we can do to determine which team wins, we can set our winner above this function right here, so local winner. So now that we have our local winner, what we can do, if number of team 1 is 0, then winner is in quotations team 2. We can do the same thing. If number of team 2 is 0, then the winner is in quotations team 1. So this will see if no players are left on team 1, the winner will be team 2. If no players are left on team 2, the winner is team 1. Then we can drop a line. If I is equal to 0, then winner equals nobody. We can put if winner, then status.value is winner ... has won the game. And since this check for a winner will end the game, at the very end we can put a break. So to get our character to move him to spawn, we do for A, B in pairs, team 1, do local character is b.character or b.character added, wait, and then we can do character pivot to world spawn.cframe, and we can actually do plus vector3.new 050, so it won't spawn them in the spawn point, it will spawn them above it. And then we want to just copy this and paste this in and put team 2 instead of team 1. And now that we have all this, we can just remove our last two functions. Make sure you get the ends as well. So another thing we need to change down here, since what it's doing now, for every player in a team, it's going to check both of these. Not differently, it's going to check these both at the exact same time. So what we need to do here, so we don't remove two players from the table, or we just get half of the team out pretty much. What we can do here, when it checks for a character, we also need to check if players find first child b.name doesn't equal nil, then we will remove them from the team. And then we drop down the line after the table remove and we put it in. So this is going to make sure that they have a player instance in the game. They haven't left the game. So we're not going to remove two players from the same team. So we can go ahead and test this out. So now in our testing, we see that we have our two players. It's an intermission. After a few seconds, the game will start. It will teleport us into the game. You see, as I've divided the map into two areas of spawns, one player's on this side and one player's on this side. So we have our team 1 player and we have our team 2 player. And then we see once I reset player 1 right here, after a few seconds, the game's going to restart. Team 1 has won the game. You see it's going to continue back. Everything's going to work just fine. We're back in the map. So now if you wanted to make the teams evenly distributed and randomized, for me, firstly, I'm going to change this to randomizing the teams. So now that I've changed this to randomizing the teams, I went ahead and removed all lines of code that would pick a random player and assign them to team 1. So now what we're going to do to randomize the teams, we're first going to get a player folder. So local player folder is players get children, the same way we did it last time. And we need to get a player number. So local player number is the number of player folder. So this will get, before we do anything with the player folder at all, we're going to get how many players we're getting in the game. So this is just a variable that will constantly remain the same. It's a constant. And now we need to get a team 1. So local team 1 is a new table. Local team 2 is a new table. We're getting the teams the same way we did last time. And since we're randomizing them, they'll have an equal amount of players on both sides. We can get it as a table. So now we need to make a loop for every player. So for I is 1 through the player number do. We go ahead and get a new number. So local in, we get our math.random 1 through the number of player folder that's remaining. So what we're going to do eventually is take every player we get. We're going to get a player out of the player folder and take him out of the player folder and put him into one of the teams. So he's not going to be in the player folder anymore. So this number will change every single time we run through here. And now what we need to do is actually find our player. So local player is going to be our player folder. number. So it's going to be the number instance in the player folder. So let's say we get the 4th player. It's going to be the 4th player out of the player folder. And now what we need to redo is table.remove player folder, table.find player folder player. So what we're going to do with this line, we're going to find the player folder. We're going to go through the player folder actually, and we're going to find the player in the player folder, and we're going to remove them out of it. Like we said, they don't want them to be in the player folder anymore. Now what we need to do is actually divide our players up between the teams. So if I is less than or equal to math.round player number divided by 2, and then we're going to insert our player into team 1. So insert team 1 player, and then else table.insert team 2 player. And just for good practice, we should go in here and make sure we have a task.wait in our for loop, just so it doesn't overload if we have too many players in the game. So now with all of this out of the way, we can go ahead and test this out one final time. So now in our server, we can see if we click on the map, we have our team 1 spawns on this side and our team 2 spawns on this side. So we see that both teams have 3 players on them. This one hasn't loaded in yet. So let's say we go ahead and kill these players. So I've already went ahead and killed 2 of them. So now if I go to this player and I kill this player, it's going to go ahead and end the game when he respawns. They're going to all get taken back to spawn. Some of them might glitch out, but that doesn't matter. And after a few seconds, the map will regenerate. And we see that all 7 of our players are now in the map. So if we click on the map, we have our team 1 spawns on this side. So this team, team 1, will have 4 players. And on this side, this team will have 3 players. So it evenly distributes the players. And we can see if we go here and we kick player 7, we kick player 6, 5, and 1. The game will also end as there's no players on one team. So that means our system is working out just fine. So anyway, y'all, that's going to do it for today's video. Thank you for watching. Like always, if you have any suggestions or any ideas, please let me know. But anyways, thank y'all for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one.